Bring back Nelima, who's joining us right now. Nelima, good morning. Can you believe it's 11th of January?
Yeah, these are going pretty fast.
Yeah.
I feel like past COVID-19 from 2020, then everything has just been fast-tracked. I don't know where we're rushing to. We're older, I guess the experience is good.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Good weather in Nairobi today. I've seen that there isn't so much really in terms of cold. You know, Nelima, we're used to January being a hot month, but it's not.
Right, famously known as January. But I believe this has been a little different. Some cold days.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's not too sunny. It's not too windy. It's not too cold.
Yeah.
Just a delicate balance. I think that's what we need to get through. But as well, Simba, remember that with a new year, then perspective, again, is very important. And given the conversation that I had yesterday about how then you can change your mindset. And so January doesn't have to be this long, dusty, hungry month. It's how you choose to look at it. And of course, if you plan your finances as well, then January is just going to be January.
Yeah.
It just has 31 days.
You know
it doesn't have 60 or 90.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what they say though? That 90 days of January, and then I saw somebody say, I'm just doing the half day of those 90 days in this 11 days. I would tell you that. Right,
and Simba, you know, one thing again is that it becomes sort of a culture. Same thing like when you go to high school, then you're told when you get to Form 3, there's the mole concept that is hard. So you will go into Form 1, Form 2, just thinking that there's a certain mole concept that is going to be hard to get through. But now you see it's perspective. It's how we choose to look at it. And here at Lookuptv, we just want to give positive vibes. And just to tell you that we're going to be continuing with our conversation for resolutions. What are your health resolutions, Simba? Are you into fitness? Do you drink a lot of water? What are you looking into as far as your health goals are concerned?
Actually, I've been drinking a lot of water this morning. I think I've done what? Maybe 2 liters this morning? Yeah? How many am I supposed to do a day?
Not bad, but at least 2 liters a day?
At least 2 liters a day. Done for the day.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
But I'll cross-check that with my nutritionist, who'll be coming a little later on in the program. And of course, she'll be letting us know the health goals. How do we plan around it? And because when you talk about health, it's just not about losing weight or getting into the gym. It's also what we feed our mind as well.
Yes.
We'll be delving into that when we have our morning conversation a little later on.
I'll be telling you that. Guess what? We take a tiny breather right here on the Morning Drift. Remember, you can be part of the conversation online at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. I am at Kiage Simba Nelima. Where you at?
I'm at Nelima Nancy on Twitter, and the hashtag is The Morning Drift. We take that break. Don't go too far.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Drift. My name is Simba Kiage. I'm not alone. I'm with Nancy Nelima this morning, and we're looking at exactly what is trending on your dailies this morning, as much as well, the political, economic, and health sphere is concerned. I do have the Standard Nelima. You do have the Daily Nation. What are they headlining on that particular paper?
And right on the front page of the Daily Nation, Simba, you had talked about something on the education sector. And of course, the impending headache for President William Ruto as he seeks to reform this sector. And of course, he will be looking to spend at least 635 billion shillings.
That's a lot of money. That's almost 1 trillion, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
And as we're looking into the junior high, that is set to commence now end of the month, end of January. And remember, the president domiciled the junior high students in their respective primary schools. And of course, you know, then construction of the classrooms. There is a lot involved. And as well as, remember, the committee that was looking into the CBC, the competency-based curriculum, and just to see how to reform it given that a lot of parents and different stakeholders had complained about the cost implication as well. So there is a lot, even up to paying in-service teacher training. There's a lot of reforms the president is seeking to implement in the education sector, as well as bridge the current teacher shortage of 116,000 within 2 financial years. So is it ambitious? Some critics say maybe a little too ambitious, but the president has said that he will be giving a very definite plan of how he's going to go about this and where he's going to get the money. And so that story comes to you on page 7 of the Daily Nation. You can buy it and flip it right there onto page 7. As well, Simba, there's a very interesting development on the story of Edwin Chiloba, the fashion designer who was murdered and his body found in Kapseret in Uasin Gishu County. And the U.S. has offered to help Kenya in Chiloba murder probe. Remember, this is a story that has elicited a lot of reactions. And of course, there's many people have endeared to this situation because it was a brutal murder. 5 suspects have been arraigned in court, and of course they're going to be held for the next 21 days. And because it has created, the public has interest in it, and not just nationally but internationally as well. So the US has offered its help, extended help in the murder probe of Edwin Chiloba. So that story comes to you on page 2 of the Daily Nation. And just flipping onto page 4, Raila rallies fault Ruto's executive order on Gachagua Mudavadi roles. Remember, the president made a few changes in a few dockets and defining the roles of the chief cabinet secretary, who is Musalia Mudavadi, and the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua. And of course, now the brigade, the Azimio brigade, is faulting that move, just saying that it's a very delicate situation right there, as the roles perhaps a little too similar. So that story comes to you on page 4 of the Daily Nation. And on page 5, 2027 State House race and politics of debt. So Kalonzo Musyoka right there. ODM says, whereas it has no problem backing Kalonzo, sending threats and setting conditions is ill-advised. Remember, Kalonzo Musyoka, who is the Wiper leader, is set to make a big announcement, as he said. And of course, members of the Wiper party just saying that they will not settle for anything less than presidency come 2027. So we are barely into the new term of the Kenya Kwanza government, but we are still
and the campaigns have already started for 2027, yeah?
Right. That's what's happening on this end, Simba. Of course, a lot on the education sector. That is a big focus of the Daily Nation this morning. And teachers' strike mars the marking of the KCSE test. So some teachers have actually, they've striked. And remember, the KCSE examination is, the marking is ongoing. But they have, among the issues that they have raised is the current conditions. Remember that they have been domiciled in different schools where the marking is ongoing. And so then that strike means then that the marking is going to take longer than was anticipated. So a lot of the education sector this morning, Simba, that's what's happening on this side of the Daily Nation. What about yours?
Pretty much. All right, majority of those stories, but I'm going to ask you this, Nelima. This big headline here on the Standard, and this is how they're calling it, deal that saved Wambui Waruto. It's a very interesting headline. And this is what it says. Freedom. DPP withdraws case against Mary Wambui, a close ally of the president, was recently appointed chairperson of Communications Authority of Kenya after she agreed with KRA on a payment plan. Read that story all the way into page 4 of the Standard right there. And that amount that is in dispute, by the way, is 2 billion shillings that KRA was seeking from the businesswoman. It's not a new headline, if indeed you are aware with what has been going on in this country, especially under Ruto's government, for any other appointee to his government or his administration, because this particular headline, freedom is coming. You can interpret it in different ways. She's the last of those to be cleared, and it looks as if now, Nelima, any other person who's been given a position at Ruto's government, or earlier on has been followed by all these claims of graft or any other court case. It's gone, Nelima.
Right, and of course that is,
Yes.
is a whole conversation.
Yeah.
A lot of mixed reactions because all the people that had a lot of people that had court cases under the Uhuru regime then seem to have gotten a reprieve,
Yeah.
even from the Director of Public Prosecutions, then withdrawing some of those cases. And as well, we saw the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, then say that senior officials who had benefited illegally then the government is going to get them with its long arm, is going to bring them to book. Then just seems that things are turning the other way around. But only time will tell, and of course there is the law, so we'll be waiting to see Simba.
I'm telling you, you can interpret it in different ways, isn't it? But we said freedom is coming, and that is the headline that the Standard has started with. In fact, they put it in red, freedom at last. Anyway, now if you go to page 5 of the Standard, Nelima, CRE teachers have been kicked out of KCSE marking. In fact, they've been sacked. That's the same story that you did touch on the Daily Nation. And this is what they said. They faulted NEC over number one, the state of the areas that they're housed now to mark these exams, and overall the payment. That's what they're saying. In fact, if you read the first line there, the decision was reached to save the credibility of the exams and to stick to the timelines. And then the teachers' union officials defended examiners and pushed for a meeting with NEC. So midway, the marking of cases in Nelima, and we do expect that those results are supposed to come out anytime soon now.
Right.
CRE teachers have been fired from marking those exams because they complain about pay and also the conditions of the places, these examination centers that they're housed under.
Oh, well, I think the President, William Ruto, has his work cut out for him.
I'll tell
There
you.
is indeed a lot of reforms that he's seeking to make in the education sector. Perhaps, as he said, we give him time to see the effectiveness then of the Kenya Kwanza government.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, on top of that, also read into page 21. There's a governor who's operating with a cabinet for the former governor as well, Nelima. That is an Asir. He decided there's no need of rushing into appointments in a county government. He's already gone 100 days with a former governor, Joho's cabinet. Read that story on pages 21 and on pages 24 of the Standard. You can read on how the weak shilling is affecting the big car market. Some of those stories, by the way, are going to come all the way on a look at business today. On the back page of the Standard, I'll tell you how Ateta has praised Nketia as an Arsenal school, Oxford, and indeed we did school them, Nelima. And Ian Kitani, if you're watching, there's no difference between Nketia now and Rashford. I can make that claim right here in Drift, and there's nothing you're going to do about it because the stats speak for themselves. No difference at all. That's what I'm saying, and we might win the FA this season as well. So that is your outlook of newspapers this morning. Now you do know exactly what to do. Grab yourself a copy, and should you want to be part of the conversation this morning, then you know what to do as well. And Kiage Simba is my handle, Nelima.
And at Nelima Nancy, and the hashtag is the Morning Drift. Remember, it's coming to you live across all our social media platforms at Lookuptv on Twitter, Lookuptv on Facebook, and Lookuptv on our YouTube channel. We do have to take a very short break, but we'll be back with what's trending across our socials.
Welcome back to the Morning Drift. My name is Simba Kiage. This time, let's cross over then to what is trending online. And oh, by the way, trending. Let me mention a couple of those that we won't talk about really, but I'll be telling you exactly what it is. For football fans, Elanga is trending. I don't know why. We know why, but we're going to talk about it. We do also have Marcus Rashford trending and Katia Shaw trending as well. Anyway, let's then cross over to what specifically you're trending that touches your nation this morning. Of course, those touch as well, but then this will make more sense. Let's jump straight into our tweet center this morning so we can get to read it together. All right, can we jump into it right now? Do we have it? All right, this is the first one, and this is coming from Sakaja, by the way. And this is what Sakaja says, Nelima. I don't have any problem with DP regarding Gachagua. That is what Sakaja is saying. And the extension of that is that, again, another comment on that, if there's any problem then, he's a senior member of my party. I have respect for him in that regard, and we will sit, talk, and solve it. But then I'm going to ask you this question, Nelima.
Right.
Why is it that the deputy president is seemingly concerned with the affairs of Nairobi County government? That, as we do know, is the precinct of Nairobi Governor Sakaja.
Right. Of course, that tiff has been ongoing for, say, a little over 2 weeks now. And given the Nairobi situation, the Governor Johnson Sakaja looking to decongest the CBD, which has been even the intention of the previous governments, of the Nairobi County governments. And of course, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, well, he is the Deputy President. Perhaps he has interest, as some critics are saying. And perhaps he also knows that a lot of the matatu industry owners then are allies or people from, or tribesmen, as some people are actually trying to call it a little tribal. But as well, then this is a tip that is ongoing. Sakaja just looking to see how can Nairobi be decongested. So I believe the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, is the right person to answer this question.
Isn't it?
Right.
Because when you look at it, it's a bit confusing, isn't it? You like to think, well, just shut up. You got somebody who's running that government, and they, well, two sides of the coin, isn't it? I'll be telling you what that is. Now, let's go to the next one, and this is from Hamed Nasir Abdullahi, who's saying, why does the DEP, Rigathi Gachagua, constantly speak my language? By the way, you got to read in between those lines. Why does Hon Gachagua consistently speak for Wanjiku? Why does Gachagua refuse to forget the history that informs the present? Why is Hon Gachagua always insisting on accountability? Why is Hon Gachagua always right? That tweet, by the way, is not essentially what it is. That's a man telling you, read between my lines. And from where I'm sitting, that is somebody who's critical about Rigathi Gachagua. I gotta ask you this. It's not the very first time that we've seen people really question deeply Rigathi Gachagua on his latest utterances, Nelima.
Right.
Reading between the lines, what do you make of that tweet from Hamed Nasser?
I think the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, is definitely a man who makes headlines.
Yeah.
Popular and popular, depending on who's looking. Obviously, he has been in some sort of conflict there with the Chief Cabinet Secretary, Musalia Mudavadi, and critics even saying there could be cracks within the Kenya Kwanza government just 3 months into office, and now with the Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja. So he is a man who definitely gives us stories in the newsroom. And of course, we'll be looking just to feature a lot about even the ongoing tiff between the Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja and Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua.
Yes, pretty much. Just let me just read this one particular one just before we cross over. This is Honorable Stanley Wamanga, who's saying some outbursts in Kenya are costly. Some battles in Kenya come with a price. We had Ringera up there, Patrice Lumumba up there for us recovery. How could Tosha Mboga? When the cartels fight back, the DP will find himself in a tight corner, though his words resonate with us pretty much. Let's cross over to the last one then, just before we take that tiny breather and cross over to the newsroom. This is what we've spoken about this morning, Nelima. The St. KCC marking in a St. Francis Mango Girls halted as examiners protest over low pay and below par working conditions. Thoughtful, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
And definitely the education sector, since we were in primary school, then the strikes have been ongoing. And this is what the President, William Ruto, is seeking to address with the 634 billion shillings reforms that is going to cost him to reform the education sector, perhaps just to put a standstill to all of these problems that have been in the education sector. Of course, the marking of the teachers, there's been a lot of strikes, underpayment, not the first time. It is showing up among the issues that top among affecting teachers in the Kenyan schools. And so we are hoping that these reforms then will remove the headache that has been ongoing over the years.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, that is exactly what we have for you this morning in terms of your trends. Remember, KCC students are waiting for their results, and what bit of custom since Matiang'i took over in our office is that we've never seen any delays in the marking exercise. It's the very first time we might anticipate something of that sort, of that nature, but hopefully Machogu, the new CS Education, is looking into that just to make sure that the results come out in good time for the much expecting candidates, isn't it? All right, we take a tiny breather right here on the Morning Drift. Once we come back, I'll be taking you straight to the newsroom while we look at the biggest headline also that are taking center stage in the country.
Do you need a dose of hope? If so, you are in the right place. We think of ourselves around here as hope dealers, delivering truth, power, and inspiration to hearts and minds all over the world. If nothing else has worked for you, why not give the God thing a try? For it's in the presence of God that you'll find everything that you need. Amen.
Mwangi's Institute of Cosmetology. We are TVET and NITA approved training institute in the following courses: School of Hairdressing and Beauty Therapy, School of Fashion Design, Event Management and Decoration, School of Interior Design and Beadwork, School of Advanced Nail Technology, and School of Makeup Artistry. We are located at Kim's Plaza, Equity Bank Building, 4th floor, Oginga Odinga Street, Eldoret. Call us on 0715-046-499 or email us at mwangiscosmetologyinstitute@gmail.com. Mwangi's Institute of Cosmetology, empowering tomorrow's generation today.
watching The Morning Drift. My name is Simba Kiage. This time, let's cross straight into the newsroom. We'll give you the biggest headlines that you are waking up to this morning. Let's start like this then. It was a reprieve for Communication Authority of Kenya Board Chair Mary Wambui after the DPP withdrew a tax evasion case against her amounting to 2.2 billion shillings. Wambui was charged alongside her daughter, Purity Njoki. Ian Kitani opens.
Mary Wambui Mungai, a prominent business lady, was full of excitement after the tax evasion case worth 2.2 billion shillings fronted against her and her daughter Purity Njoki in 2021 was withdrawn by the DPP. According to Judge Felix Kombo, the Director of Public Prosecutions wrote to the court explaining his decision to withdraw the case, directing that the 50 million shillings paid as bail by Wambui should be refunded.
Having granted time for the parties to engage, the court is informed that the objections were successfully considered and determined under Section 51 of the Tax Procedures Act 2015, and that the matter, the subject of these charges, has been compounded under the provisions of Section 109 of the Act. The court is provided with a letter dated 7th of December 2022. This is the letter addressed to the DPP by 1 CPBS, Acting Commissioner General of KRA. There's a reference number there. Counsel for the state, Ms. Gay, has informed the court that the learned DPP has concurred with the decision by the complainant and has no objection to withdrawal of the complaint in terms of the letter addressed to him. This letter. Learned counsel for the defense, Mr. Harvey and Dr. Kamoto, also have no objection to the request to withdraw. And having considered the record, the submission by counsel for the state and counsel for the accused, I'm satisfied that the complainant, having considered and compounded the matters the subject of these charges, the substratum of the same law no longer exists, and the complainant has advanced sufficient grounds to enable the court to permit a withdrawal of its complaint under Section 204 of the CPC. For the court.
Wambui's lawyers Nelson Harvey and Adrian Kamotho did not object the withdrawal, saying the case lacked merit and their client was not guilty.
Last discharge, which was
to confirm that you will be involved in this process.
Yes, we confirm the objection of proceedings, so yielded the agreement for the payment of the determined tax. Yes.
Wambui, who is said to have funded the Jubilee Party in 2017, was appointed as the chair of the Communications Authority of Kenya Board by President William Ruto late last year. Ian Kitani, Lookuptv.
Transport was paralyzed for hours along Chwele Lohaha Road in Bungoma County after residents blocked the road. The residents, led by Kabuchai Member of Parliament Majengo Kalasinga and Webuye West Member of Parliament Dan Wanyama, who organized the demos, asked the transporteers Kipchumba Murkomen to stop trailers from using the road. Shada Carrera with our story.
This could be misunderstood for athletics. Nevertheless, these are Kabuchai Member of Parliament Majimbo Kalasinga and his counterpart Webuye MP Dan Wanyama joining efforts with the residents to block Chwele Road. It is the move that has paralyzed transport, forcing the drivers of the trucks heading to Uganda to find an alternative way to their destination. The major cause of this is attributed to the increase of road accident caused by the trailers. Kalasinga, who mobilized residents, asked Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen to find an alternative route for the trailers, citing carelessness from the drivers.
Rafiki yangu, Mheshimiwa Murkomen, tumekuambia mara mingi mimi kama mbunge ya Kabuchai, lakini siku leo nimesema wacha tufanye hivi ili uone. Yes. Kwamba watu wa Kabuchai wanakufa, watu wa West wanakufa, watu ya Sirisha walikufa, Kimilili wanakufa, transit goods imewekwa kwa barabara yenye sio klasi yake. Barabara ya kutoka Kampala kukuja kufika Bugiri na kupindua kuja Lwakara ufunge kuanzia leo.
The leaders is lamenting that the road is not strong enough to sustain heavy trucks.
Mbali na hayo, barabara ya Namwela kwenda mpaka Lwahaha, it is a low volume road. Yes. It was not meant for heavy commercial. We want you to redirect these lorries, that they should not pass on this road because they are bringing a lot of accidents. Recently, basi na watu karibu 30 wameangamia kwa sababu ya hii malori.
The locals stated that they will stop at nothing until their plea is heard and acted upon.
Na maandamano ambayo tumefanya sisi kama machairman tuta keep on, tuone ya kwamba watu wetu wamepata haki hata pasipo wabunge wetu kukua karibu, lakini wamefungua mlango ambao ya kwamba to make sure kwamba hizi matrela kubwa hasitatumia tena hii barabara.
Hii barabara wametusaidia kwa maana hii barabara inaua watu wetu wa boda. Driver wa lori anatoka kule amelewa, kuendesha gari ni shida. Yaani akikuja hivi akiona mtu wa boda mbele, ajali ni mtu kusema ukweli.
Shadrack Kareria, Lookuptv.
Moving on, a 60-year-old man has reportedly hacked his son to death following a domestic brawl at Ritanda village, Kisii County, after disagreement following the son's demand to be allocated a section of his father's farm that he had sold. This comes in the wake of concerns over a spate of domestic murder cases in the county in recent weeks.
A somber mood engulfed Ritanda village in Kisii County after residents woke up to a horrendous incident of a 60-year-old man hacking his son to death. Sebastian Maturo allegedly hacked his son with a hoe in the head, causing him fatal injuries that led to his instant death. This comes after a domestic brawl over a piece of land Sebastian had sold.
Lakini sasa hata sisi tu atakui kitu kilifanyika sasa kupata kumtunga kisu na kumpiga kwa kitu.
His wife Lucy Mora said they constantly lived on the edge since their lives were always threatened, not once, not twice.
Ninakaa lakini ninakaa na magumu ya vita. Anaamuka asubuhi na visu, nataka kuniua. Anakuja hata mchana anataka kuniua. Namuuliza nini mbaya? Sijakukosea. Kama ni chakula nimesakula, nini mbaya? Kaniambia mpaka nikuue ama sio wewe niwe kijana yako. Ama sio wewe nitoe roho yake nikule.
The deceased wife, who had sensed danger that loomed way before the incident, had escaped for her dear life. This comes in the wake of concerns over a spate of such incidences that have dominated Kisii County, with over 92 cases lined up in court awaiting the verdict.
We had challenges in terms of the judiciary appointing judges and deploying them to our area. Currently, we have only one High Court judge who cannot be able to handle, but I do appreciate that from next week, we are likely to get another additional judge.
Elsewhere, police officers have arrested a man who has allegedly killed his 2-year-old stepson.
Tuliona kijana akitokelezea kwa nyumba, alikuwa amebeba stove. Tukajua ametembea tu huku kwa uzuri na akaenda akachoma vitu yake huku nyuma. Tukadhani hakuna kitu yenye imetendeka. Mwisho tunaona askari na chifu anaingia kwa mlango. Ndio mwisho tukaona mtoto anafanya nini, anatolewa kwa blanketi amekufa.
Leaders, residents and stakeholders have called upon the government to intervene. Cecilia Lubanga, Lookuptv.
A family in Nanyuki town is seeking justice for their daughter who was allegedly defiled, murdered, and his body burnt inside a home in a church compound. Christine Chalagat, 13, had just completed her grade 6 and was looking forward to joining a junior secondary school before the ordeal.
According to her aunt, Pauline Kinya, who had been left under her care together with her other siblings, Chelagat left home as if she was going to the toilet on the afternoon of Tuesday 3rd this month, never to be seen again.
After mvua imeisha, dakika kidogo nikasikia nduru nje. Kutoka nje kuchungulia tukasikia ni moto kwa kanisa. Kanisa inachomeka, watu wanaruka kwa mafence kwenda kuzima moto. Sisi wote majirani, watu wa hii area wote tukaenda kuona moto kwa kanisa na kuzima pia. Kufika huko baada ya moto kuzima ndo tulisikia hadi kuna mtu amechomekea huko. Mwenye nyumba akasema alikuwa mwizi. Alikuwa amemfungia ndani kwa sababu alikuwa mwizi. So sisi hatukufikiria ni mtoto wetu. Kesho hiyo usiku yote tukalala kutafuta mtoto. Kesho yake ndio tulienda hapo tukapata kiatu yenye alikuwa amevaa pisi yenye ilikuwa imebaki imechomeka, ikabaki nguo tight yenye alikuwa amevaa pisi yake. Ndio sasa tukaenda polisi kesho yake asubuhi.
The girl's mother, Frida Kagwiria, said that she doesn't believe that her daughter was a thief and neither set herself on fire, and is hopeful that the post-mortem examination will give the truth and finally justice for her daughter.
So ningeomba upasuaji kifanyika tukue na daktari wetu wa private mwenye atatusaidia kujua ukweli. Tunaomba usaidizi kwa hiyo.
PAG Church Pastor Julius Mburunga said that the girl was a member of the church and participated in church activities faithfully, something that was confirmed by her mother, who said that the girl has been attending the church for the last 7 years.
Nikapigia mzee wa kijiji kwa maana kama ni mwizi na mzee wa kijiji amekuja, hata kubali hiyo mwizi wawe na watu, hata mzuilia labda mkuja tumpeleke polisi au niite polisi wakuja wamshukue. Sasa hiyo ndio vilifanyika. Kukaa baada ya kupigia mzee ambaye tunaitwa Michael na kwa hapa, ndio baadaye aliniambia, "Pastor, hebu niende niangalie." Kukaa baada ya muda sijui ni kipindi gani, akanipigia akaniambia, "Pastor, si hivyo tu, hata tunaona moto kanisani." Sasa kusikia hivyo nikashangaa. Nilishukua gari yangu mbio, nikakuja hata sikuingilia kwa boma kuja, nikakuta watu wamejaa huko nje. Gate ilikuwa imefungwa tayari, wamejaa nje. Nikashindwa nini naendelea, lakini nikaingia ndani, nikafungua gate kwa maana iko imefunguliwa mlango mmoja, nikaingia. Sasa ndio nikuja nikakuta mambo iko namna hiyo vile mmeona hapo. Na msichana alikuwa amelala hapa. Hapa ndio alikuwa amelala akiwa hapa ndio alikuwa amelala.
President William Ruto Tuesday presided over the police pass out in the Kiganjo National Police College in Nyeri County. The president, who was accompanied by Interior CS Kithure Kindiki, urged the police to serve all Kenyans professionally with respect and dignity to ensure that insecurity is handled. Moses Okech reports.
At around 11 a.m., the Commander General of the Armed Forces, President William Ruto, was up to speed in the Kiganjo National Police College grounds in Nyeri County. Moments later, the President will step in to inspect the well-lined parade in respect and honor to these police that have graduated from their 9 months of police training. The President has applauded the event, terming it as that of a great importance to the security of the country and the understanding of the authority their police uniform holds in the service.
This passing out parade is a critical milestone in Kenya's journey to enhance our police ratio and at the same time emphasize our commitment to align with evolving security needs and policing approaches. In this uniform, you will be called upon at all times to be conscious of the immense power and privilege you have and to be mindful of your corresponding obligation to exercise it conscientiously and responsibly.
Ruto has however stated that his government will commit itself in all cause in partnership with the Ministry of Interior to serve the nation with integrity, as the government has spent more than 5 billion shillings in training us from March 2022, promising them a better housing.
We have prioritized the provision of spacious, comfortable, safe, secure, and affordable housing for police officers in our affordable housing plan. This will go a long way in delivering our pledge to address the housing shortage facing members of the police service.
The service has in the past 3 years been losing about 2,000 officers yearly following their health challenges. Their commander has had their sorrows.
The government will provide a comprehensive insurance scheme effective this month, available to members of the police and prison service and their families. Additionally, 2 fully equipped National Police Service hospitals are complete and will soon be ready to serve members of the force, including their families.
In addition, the Interior CS Kithure Kindiki, together with the Inspector General of Police Japheth Koome, have applauded the program.
We assure you, as the vision carrier of our national security, we, all of us, officers, institutions in this sector will work harmoniously and in synergy to ensure we support you to realize peace, security, and tranquility in our country, on the basis of which our economy will grow.
Members of the National Police Service, their officers will love their country. So nakuhakikishia kila wakati they are ready to kuchunga mali ya nchi, mali ya wananchi na kulinda wananchi wetu. Kesho nitakuwa naanza mwezi wangu wa 3 tangu niingie kwa ofisi. You have always kept encouraging us. Na umesema sisi tukae mbali na siasa. Tangu niingie kwa hiyo ofisi hakuna kitu wa siku umetoa amri shika huyu, futa huyu askari. Umeacha Inspector General afanye kazi yake na maofisa wake. Tunakushukuru sana kwa hayo, Mheshimiwa Rais.
Even as they leave for higher duties, the government is expected to coordinate with the Ministry of Interior and other security organs to bring an end to insecurity in the country. Moses Okech, Lookuptv.
Residents of Gatamayu in Malewa East Ward are up in arms over threats to close Gatamayu dispensary over land dispute. This was after an individual moved to court claiming ownership of land under which the dispensary is constructed. Residents now fear losing such a facility that has served them for 20 years, while urging the government to look out for a lasting solution over cases of land grabbing in the Nakuru County.
Sikia zile kilometers watu husafiri kwenda kutafuta matibabu. Unaenda Ngothi, unaenda Karati, unaenda Naivasha, na hapa ni mahali ambapo mashamba ni share moja kuotanika. Hata kupanda chakula ati ndio mnauza mnapata pesa za kusafiri ni shida.
Na mkiangalia hili jengo ambalo tuko nalo sio jengo la kujengwa juzi, ni ile mijengo ambayo inadumu ya miaka na miaka. Na nahisi ya kwamba hata huyu jamaa anatamani, sababu anaangalia huu mjengo unamfaa sana labda yeye, lakini anashindwa kwamba kuna mioyo mingi sana ambayo inasaidiwa na hii hospitali.
It's not just bare land that somebody could walk in and say that it has no developments going on. So if the person claiming this land was keen, was honest to the court, he should have been able to demonstrate this facility as a functional hospital, and I'm sure the court would not have issued those orders.
Wakati tumeenda kwa ofisi, tukaenda kotini, tumepata ya kwamba ni haki huyu mtu mwenye ana claim this land ako na shamba lake ambalo ana supposed kwenda ku claim but not this Gatamayu dispensary. So ningeomba na nimhakikishie, sababu najua anajua hapa, aende atafute na aclaim shamba lake. Kama county assembly, the whole of Nakuru, Madam Governor amesema all public utilities to establish. Wale mabwenyenye ambao wanakuja kunyakua atafuata, na tumeanzia na tumetangulia na dispensary ya Gatamayu. Watu wa Gatamayu tunawahakikishia hakuna mtu yeyote ambaye ataweza kuja kunyakua hii ardhi.
An Abubi lawyer was Tuesday charged with forging the official stamp and the signature of an EACC lawyer and using the forged stamp to falsely secure court orders against EACC. Jack Bikambo appeared before Milimani Senior Principal Magistrate Mother Nanzushi and denied 4 counts of charges. The lawyer is accused that on February 10th, 2022, at Bigambo and Bigambo Advocates Office in Westlands, with intent to deceive, used a false stamp impression in the name of a Grace Wambui advocate and Commissioner of Oaths on a supporting affidavit.
The charges here, my lady. I am a victim of an overzealous institution that our firm has been able to successfully litigate against them. Being an officer of this court, my lady, I practice before this court, and I am not in any way a flight risk, because I practice before the same court. And I'm just requesting this court, if it can be kind enough, to give and furnish very lenient and reasonable bail and bond terms. And also we are requesting the court, if at all, we can punish ourselves. All witness statements and all documentary evidence that the prosecution intends to rely on in the prosecution of this case. I'm sorry that the court to be so kind in issues of very lenient bond terms.
And I think they gave us a cash bail of 100,000 in one contact person, which I also think that day of January.
Eastern Regional Commander Paul Rotich has vowed to tackle the runaway insecurity and banditry in the counties of Marsabit, Isiolo and Meru. Rotich, who formerly was a Marsabit County Commissioner, said he was privy to the challenges facing the areas and will spare no effort in ensuring lasting solution.
Cattle theft, cattle raids, and some spots of highway banditry, particularly along the just post Merile highway. We experience insecurity, particularly the pastoral areas where cattle raids and cattle theft is a common phenomenon. I think His Excellency the President has set the tone that these are practices which should come to an end, and it must resonate to all of us, the people who plan, execute, and participate in incidences of cattle theft and cattle raids. We have the drought situation that is currently biting a number of counties in the region. And these are some of the areas which we are going to give a lot of focus so that we ensure that we reach our people and ensure that in areas where there is drought, we ensure that we don't lose lives. In some counties of this region, like Marsabit, for example, we failed to get adequate rains for 5 seasons.
Particular story then marks the end of Our bulletin this morning right here on the Morning Drift. Now, it is Wednesday, and you do know that Nelima is right here with us in the studio with the guest already. Take out your pens and papers because you are supposed to take notes today. Remember, on Wednesday, we focus on you and your personal development. And I can tell you there is just an interesting conversation coming up. But for me, I'll be coming later on from 11 to 12 noon this morning, actually. Now, let me ask you a question just before I take a tiny breather. Did you see the picture of Ruto with Peter Ndegwa and a couple of executives who visited him at State House? Then a day later, they did announce that bonga points will not be expiring. So if you didn't use them up to January 1st of 2023, you can still move on with them. But then 14 executives have quit Safaricom, recently being the chairman. What is cooking? I'll be telling you what that is on Look at Business when I join you from 11 to 12. For now, we take a tiny breather. Nancy and Nelima will be back with you for that Wednesday conversation. Good morning.